Zo, ik weet niet of ik dit in het Nederlands moet doen, in het Engels of in het Caverdiaans. I'm really flabbergasted. Nunca saber que língua tem que usar. I'll just do it in English so I don't have to translate it 3 times over. It's 2:19 on the clock in the middle of the night on the 23rd of February 2023. I went to bed a little earlier today, before 11, and I woke up just after midnight because I don't know why, something just pushed me to wake up. I been getting downloads for years now, and I have discovered an amazing thing. It's something that the world is not waiting on. Not waiting for that to hear this, but I think that a lot of people wouldn't mind knowing about this. I myself am rather flabbergasted. Because it's a discovery you don't expect to make such a discovery, such a personal, it's such a personal discovery after trying to find my own identity, just for the pure fact of not knowing that back in the day who my biological father was. I was treated poorly, badly, like the whole complete Cinderella story. From a young age, I've been very conscious and very aware and very mindful. Always investigative. I had taken a DNA test a couple of years ago to prove that my stepdad was indeed not my biological father, because that was the story that was being told to me. And the way I grew up between my other siblings, I of course noticed the difference and the dangers, the colorism, the putting me last, and I was just treated like basically worthless. I was like the black sheep. Nonetheless, me and my stepdad have a great relationship now. We talk regularly, less so with my mother. And I'm starting to think either I don't know what happened, why it happened, and why this is happening to me. I went on my true ancestry DNA to find out specifically what ethnicities I belong to, because I had taken the test and ran it on some other websites, but they don't say this is so much percent West Africa and the part of Solomon's Islands and Eurasia and Mesoamerica. I'm like, how can I be all over the map? This is ridiculous. And it said that I had 10 ethnicities in my DNA and 3 genetic types. I don't know if that's normal. I don't know if that's normal, but I've been on my trueancestry.com for a while. I leveled up to what am I on now? Odyssey level 7. So you have to actually pay to upgrade to get more samples to see what group of people you belong to. And just to start off with who I thought I was and what I thought that my ethnicity was. I am raised as a Cape Verdean girl, woman. I can't say girl anymore. I'll be 45 in a couple of months. Um, this from the Cape Verdean Islands, West Africa. And you know the whole story about transatlantic slavery, and even that has everything I've studied, starting when I was 3 years old. A lot of things just did not add up. And my mind is an amazing tool. It's an amazing brain. I love it. I can think as far as 4 galaxies away and come back with a solution. And I don't know how I do it, but my mind is able to link the most. Like, I have a subject over here and there's a subject over here, and nobody would ever think that they actually belong and coexist together. But my mind will go there and scan the entire universe just to find that pinpoint place where they meet. Because sometimes going through the most illogical paths to find that logical answer that resonates and feels and breathes and smells like truth. You have to dig a little deeper, and that's what I do. I mean, I'm a kid. I was taught how to write when I was 3 years old. I don't hear a lot of stories about children being taught how to write uh, when they're 3 years old, and then start doing that independently and writing poetry by the time they're 4 and 5 years old, and reciting poetry in class, and learning how to speak English, because nobody taught me how to speak English. I learned basically due to watching Discovery Channel, National Geographic, and those types of informative programs, watching uh, everything about had to do with history, how it's made, the oceans, the skies, the planets, the universe, space, NASA, everything, how everything was made, built. I wanted to know. Every war I dug into, every religion I dug into. I studied for self-studied, home study. I do the things myself for over 23 years. Theology, to figure out what was the deal with religion, um, and paganism and New Age and everything. But at the same time, I'm trying to find my identity. I'm trying to figure out who I am. Who is this Nilza Gomez person? I don't mind saying my name, because most people in Europe already know me due to my big family. The fact that I am a local mini kind of celebrity, and the city's crazy auntie Nilza. I'm a poet, a spoken word artist. I've won a TEDx show, and I won a prize for poetry, literary prize for poetry back in 2017, after I debuted in 2015. So that was cutting it close. But I had already been writing for more than 35 years, so the competition it's not competition. It wasn't competition. It's not fair to write alongside people who just started writing poetry 6 weeks ago, and here I come. Oh, I started writing poetry when I was 3. How old are you? I'm 35. Back then, that was in 2015. Was it 2015? How can I be 35 in 2015? Almost. Yeah, I'll be 45. It's almost 10 years. Let's say 2014. But my debut was in 2015. And that was also my crazy year. Like, the 1 year I was gonna make it, the 1 year I had all odds stacked for me, not against me. That was the worst year of my life. That just, but they tried to pretend I was crazy, and I think I now in realization, in hindsight, I know why. It's the gang stalking, it's the keeping people down and depressed, and keeping you poor enough that you don't have enough money to find out who you are. And I was like, one day I was like, you know what? You guys are trying too hard, way too hard, to make my life miserable. Why am I that important to you? I mean, if I'm a nobody, if I am nothing, why am I that important that you have to monitor me from birth? Have people stalk me? Have people ruin my life? Have my mother ruin my life? Have people come into my life trying to kill me? Have criminals crossing my path? I'm an angel. I work with children. I write poetry. I'll be in my house. I like to go for walks. I like animals. I don't deal with criminality. Nothing. I don't have children. I've never been pregnant. I've never been married or divorced. I've never had an abortion. That's important. That's very important. Meaning I'm practically a biblical virgin. Hmm? Never been married. I don't haven't stuff. Blah blah blah. Well taken care of. But now in hindsight, I'm starting to figure out why. Because I just figured out through just tracing my own bloodline that the lost 10 tribes of Israel are not lost, and that the whole transatlantic slave system implemented after 14, was it 1492 or earlier, was to relocate, massacre, and slaughter as much of the royal families that were ruling Europe and Russia and Romania and Australia and Prussia and Sweden and England and France and Spain and Portugal, because through my true ancestry DNA, I found that there is only one subclade distance between me and the Scottish royal family or the English royal family. Then I have sample matches with James V from England, Charlotte, Belgium. I'll show you a better picture. Let me just turn this around. Can I turn this around while I do this? No, it only makes pictures. I'm gonna have to upload it. I'm just gonna have to do it like this, and you're gonna have to see it backwards. This is my royal ties globe, where my DNA matches ancient samples, which in turn have royal ties via their Y-DNA subclades. Do you see this? This is not the picture of somebody who is descendant of a slave and has no this is my mother's blood, my maternal DNA royalty breakdown. This is Spanish royalty 10%, French 10%, 10.3 all, Austrian, Danish, Sardinian, Prussian, Holy Roman Empire, Belgian, Kings of Saxony, Russian royalty, Italian royalty, the Grand Duke of, Bohemian royalty, Scottish royalty, Bavarian royalty, German royalty, Greek, At the bottom, Swedish. You have to click on it. Greek royalty. But the fact is that they based this on samples that they found in Neolithic Tanzania Cushitic. This is just this specific sample, 600 BC, and it shows the genetic distance, the DNA for both Y and MT. And I'm supposed to be a Cape Verdean, and Cape Verde is supposed to be my motherland. But now my motherland is Europe. And we did spring from the Ethiopian, Makurian, Nubian Empire, because I'm related to them. I have sample matches me to Ramses III. There are two brothers who were mummified, royal mummies. Kmut and Kmut something. I have sample matches to them, like, and in my true ancestry, I'm like one of the highest. Like your sample matches 99% closest to all other users that match this sample, and by at some instances, most instances, I even match 100%. So I'm supposed to be a black girl. Now I find out that I have 12% South Dutch blood. And then I went and looked at the research link, and that just tags me, puts me right in there with the current Dutch royal house, the ruling, sitting house. Nassau. And then I started thinking, Nassau, it's a German name. I have German ancestry, lots of it. You know what my birth name is? They changed my birth name in 1984 or 86 after my mother got married to my stepdad. I was born Neuza. That's a Portuguese name meaning gift from God. Encarnação, that means reincarnation, or to be born again, to be rebirthed in water. And Andrade, and that comes from the Knights of St. Andrew, or the line of women. And then my stepdad's name is Gomez. That means man. And my biological father's last name is Monteiro, which also was a royal function back in the day. The hunters, the riders, the horsemen that would take care of the royal horses in the palaces. But how am I? Then I started thinking, how can I be sample matched to all this royalty all over Europe and beyond? Because if they say that they're all family, and I'm related to all of them in large amounts, I'm family too. But with a subclade distance of one, when it comes to, let's say, the Scottish house or the English house. That's really close. That's like one minor change in DNA, just one letter, the last one is changed. That's it. And the rest is 100% equally same. So now I'm starting to wonder, since I'm black and all these royal, because I think that they are divinely given. If they're so hung up on royal decrees and royal names and last names, why did they have to fake it? If you conquer a land, Why do you keep using the same lions and the same flags and the same weaponry and the same? Why do you keep working under the same pretense, like I'm that person, but I'm that person, so how can you be that person? But you pretended I was a descendant of slaves, but as far as I've been told, I haven't had people in my family talk about being slaves ever. Sailors, maybe, but being slaves? I know that at the Spanish Inquisition and the Portuguese Inquisitions that they sailed people, children, between the ages of 4 and 14 to West Africa, specifically the island of St. Thomas and Principe. Guess where my mother was born? So my mother is a direct descendant of one of the children who was shipped. So they weren't slaves, because if they were slaves, they would end up in other places. They ended up back in Europe, Portugal. It's like the call for coming back home. Um, that feeling that we talk about saudade. Even if we're on the island, we talk about saudade. And I think that it's because subliminally we all know that we don't belong there. We all biologically tend to move to cities where there are ports. Enjoy to live near the water. If I live anywhere else but near a stream, I have a stream by my house, I have a lake over there, the Maas, the Rivier. It's like about 500 meters that way. I'm like encircled by water. I love that. All Cape Verdeans have this thing. We need to be near the water. Find any major capital or harbor. Find any major harbor city all over the world, and you will find Cape Verdean people there, because we're ancient sailors. We used to be. And I know that the Dutch current kingdom used to be the seven republics of their Nederlanden. It was like the Game of Thrones. 7 kingdoms and a lot of water, and everybody was sailing, and like every city, if you look at pictures or investigate on archive.org, Google ancient pictures, Google photos, like every city looks like how Venice looks now, with like the boats in the water. That's what it used to look like. We were sailing people. We were free to go. And then I think that's why they started applying the law of the water, but we're on the land now. So there's no safe sailing because you're on the land, you're not on the water. And I think that's a story for another podcast. I think that they tried to eliminate, assassinate, annihilate all the black people to pretend that they're just this one race. I think that what stated in the Bible already happened. That we already were usurped. That we're literally serving our younger brother. Because me as a black woman, I can only be the original kind. I carry 10 ethnicities in my blood. So it's not like 10 white people got together and made me black. No, I was black, and due to my blackness and all the different calculations that my melanin can make in my DNA, my cells choose to make a yellow person, a brown person, a caramel person, an albino person, all depending on what I have. That's the basis, right? So I'm demanding seats at the table. I think I'm going to write to the king and ask to be released from his. I want to be sovereign. I'm going to be the state of Nilza herself. And I'm gonna fight for my kingdom and for my people back. And I know that most black people don't care. Most black men are chasing white women. I found out, people, that Europe still carries our blood. They're still ruling on the basis of our blood and our names. Our ancestry is not lost. It's all here. I'm living exactly where I'm supposed to live. But I'm not supposed to live as a slave. How come every other royal person, doesn't matter if they're 20 um, generations apart, they still get titles? What do I have? A child of a former we're not, I was never a slave. And since we're talking about apologizing for slavery and apologizing for the massacre and apologizing, you can start adding seats to the table and start deleting some seats at the table, because I'm gonna make a mess about this. You tried to hide me, lie about me, changed my name. If I hadn't asked for my birth certificate, I wouldn't even have known. I was raised to believe that my name was Nilza Gomez. I had just those 10 letters. Now I found out, no, my name is Nilza Encarnação Andrade. And then Gomez Monteiro. They're all biblical names. And then to find out I'm even a part of the Levites, the Kohanim, the priesthood. Hey, I don't know what they did to make me, what ingredients they used to put me together. They try to kill me. I've been in hospitals due to my own diseases and stress, but even then they try to kill me, just send me home with wrong medication, or not tend to me for 4 days while I'm walking around with the blood clot in my lung. My doctor gave me paracetamol, mollies, and told me to go home and sleep it off. I would have died. I was 23 back then. I had a stroke when I was 30. I'm 44 now. I'm still here. Somebody giving me God body vibes? It's amazing. I think I found out. I think they put us all in a spell. I think we've already been assimilated. But the joke's not on me. The joke's on them. I'm gonna make a mess about this. They did too much wrong. Too much wrong. A whole history, you lie. Just imagine, just finding out, just figuring this out. Can you imagine the copy pasting, the coloring they had to be doing to white out my own history? All the books are still there. I wonder what they did to Mansa Musa's wealth. I'm coming to cash in with my karma. And I will not leave this earth. I decree that today. As my name is Nilza Encarnação Andrade Gomes Monteiro, I will not leave this earth before I fix this and save my people and wake us up and make sure that they stop this maltreatment of the whole world, because they're not just treating us as slaves, they're treating everybody as slaves. And I just found out that we are all related. You all belong to me. I can say that. You all belong to me now. I don't have to make any more children. I have the whole world I'm related to. So I'm just gonna see how I'm gonna cause a ruckus. Cause a ruckus is a big word. I'm gonna try and do it as fashionably as I can, but this shit can cause wars, man. This can cause wars, because this means at the end of the day that all the Hebrew Israelites and all the biblical people and the people in Egypt and all the people in Europe were indeed black. Because if they weren't, I wouldn't be black, because my family never changed color. My mom is black. My dad is black. My grandmother is black. My grandfather is black. Their grandparents are black. And my grandmother was born in 1935, 1927. Imagine their great great grandparents. They were all black. It was impossible to make us white because what they did is send us all to West Africa, where we survived in the Cape Verdean Islands. And nobody was visiting the Cape Verdean Islands, but due to that also, we didn't mix anymore. It's not until these generations that we're starting to mix out with different cultures and blah blah blah. But now I found out it doesn't matter because I'm Arabian, I'm Moroccan, I'm Ethiopian, Jewish, I'm Levite, I'm South Dutch. We're just intermingling. It's not interracialing, it's intermingling. We're mingling our blood and making our own beautiful rainbows. My mother has given birth to 5 daughters. We all have our own father. We all have our own brown color. One is light skinted, and I think I'm the darkest one in between us all. I'm the tallest and the middle one. I'm number 3, but I'm still the first because I'm the firstborn between my mom and my biological dad. Ha 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 ha. So I'm number 3, but I'm I'm the 3rd daughter to my mother, but I'm still her firstborn with my father. So basically, all of my elder siblings are firstborn. Isn't that funny? That's funny. That is funny. Yeah, firstborn. Something, huh? So we're like all of my sisters, even my younger siblings, yeah. Between my mom and their own biological dad, but they're all firstborn. So we stand equally. And I have my own family. And I am the family. This is such amazing. This is so amazing. I don't even know. It's like I'm stuck in I woke up in between worlds, and how am I related to all royalty? All the clans, Clan Weir, Armstrong, Kirkpatrick's, Douglas, Clan Yang. I'm like, where does it stop? Even Polish royalty, man. Polish Neolithic, Tanzania, Cushitic, 600 BC. Polish. Okay. Tanzania. Them people is black. Go to Tanzania today and see if you find them. I think they just made up. I think that the nationalities of the world are made up on the basis of where they lived and what you know how populations move, become nomads, and then we're living here now, so we'll call ourselves the people of the sea, or the people of the forest, and and that becomes their nationality, their race. Thousands of years later, we have different races, but now we actually don't. We have diluted races. that some races started mingling with each other more because they were closer to each other, and other races were further apart, so they maintained their original colors. But we're all the same family. I'm just um I have just one question. If we're all melanated related, how come white people don't have melanin? What happened to them? I know the red hairs have melanin, got freckles and all that. But the white skinned, blue eyed, blonde haired people, why don't they have melanin? Are they the alien race? Or did they really just did some DNA fuckery to themselves to keep themselves distinguished? Or were they made that way? Were they the slaves and did they then revolt against the royal houses in Europe? Yes, they did. I think our history isn't as long as they make it out to believe. I think that the medieval times, or the dark ages, I think that they covered up that actually happened, that the Bible story of Ramses and all that, I think they used our names and made their story, their conquering story. And then they started wearing our jackets, living in our houses, and started carrying our religion and our ways of life and our culture and our prints in everything we do. Just think about it. Just sit still and think about the fact that if you would wake up tomorrow and all the inventions that black people made would be gone, you would be catapulted back into the caves for real. Even during slavery, because I know there were actual plantations, but not as much as they want to perceive to be, because most of the black people were native to the Americas. The most of the black people that were living in Europe were native to Europe, like the Aborigines are native to Australia, New Zealand, yada yada. The natives, we already were there. So now I'm starting to think all those fires. People are starting to talk about the Tartaria, the age of Tartaria, with the subliminal technology and nature, and people were working hand in hand together. Everybody was happy. Cities were well lit. Gas and electricity was free because they had diabolical technological. So I'm losing my speech. It's 2:57, and I have a catching a cold. I'm starting to think that they added to our timeline to recreate all of that fake history, because if you're a conqueror of something, you're gonna have to have a history, fake something to pretend you were already there, that you're already part of the party. And I think that that never happened. Check the videos. Mind Unveiled, for example. He gives. I'm patron to. He's the only YouTube channel I'm a patron to, because I love the way he explores things. Is the way I love to explore things. Digital. He does it well. I'm not gonna try and pronounce hard words anymore. Expensive words, as we say in Dutch. Oh man. I can't clear my nose now. It'll go in, but it won't go out. So, that's the secret of the world. We're not dead. They didn't kill us all. Romanovs, huh? Romanovs. Neolithic Tanzania Cushitic. Sample hashtag 169. 600 BC. Genetic distance 30.81. mtDNA HV1B1. yDNA E1B, 1B, 1A, 1B2. Romanovs. I'd be like, what? And the thing is, my fam is fucked up. If they would have just had, in their time, a little bit of sense, it wouldn't have been so evil. They could have figured this out a long time ago. I think it was up to me I think it was up to me. I think I was the chosen one. This shit makes me want to cry. Really. It's amazing. I'll go back to the start with the analysis summary. My closest ancient populations is Yoruba, Al-Andalus, the Khoisan, the Moors, and the Bantu peoples. Those are the most ancient of ancients you can find. As I would implore everybody to go and have my true ancestry DNA tested and see, because you could be one of the lost princesses, dukes, or counts, or whatever. And when I'm talking about reparations, I mean like bringing back the Black nation into full honor. And stop pretending that we're stupid people, and stop pretending that we don't belong here and that we don't. Because when white people find this out, they're probably gonna try to kill me. For shizzles. For shizzles. And then they're gonna have to cover up my bloodline. But if that happens, they would have to kill every single Black person on earth right now. I think I'm gonna have to make some friends in Africa. I need some African, West African, uh, not only them, also, yeah, support. I think we're gonna, I have the blood, the receipts. When you talk about receipts to prove something, even if I wouldn't even have known who my biological father was, thanks to my ancestry.com, I was able to trace my identity. And combining that with my true birth name and everything that happened before and after. Do you know that when I was 3, it was a white man called Willem, who lived in the Lushofstraat in Kralingen in Rotterdam, who taught me how to write? Was a white elderly gentleman. He passed away about a year later, and he's still with me. Alma Willem. On my LinkedIn, I have a picture. You'll see him standing behind me on my 3rd birthday. Me between my mother and my stepmother, who was in heaven, I hope. So, the last 10 tribes of Israel are not lost because I have them in my DNA. I have them in my DNA. Oh, wow, this is amazing. This is gonna be an interesting year. This is going to be. Uh, I'm probably gonna have to go head to head to with the WEF, the World Economic Forum. Like, nice and everything, but all the money that you guys have stacked in your bank accounts is our money. It belongs to a bloodline, not a nation, not a country that's working as a company. Europe is a company, America is a company, England is a company. They're not countries where people can live. They're places where people are starved to death, enslaved to death, and their children are killed. And I want to see this stopped. If I become queen, I'm gonna take it back to the good old days, and I'm talking about Tartaria days. Wanna roll with me? Let's do this. I'm ready. At your service. I've always had a royal air anyway. Keep shining. Don't let nothing hold you down. And stick around, because one day you will find your true purpose. And I think I just found mine. And this one is, woo, hallelujah. Praise everybody. Good night.